All right, ladies and gentlemen, this video is going to serve as a supplement for activity 3.3. So we've been working through investigation 3, talking about the particle model versus the continuous model. We had activity 1, we talked about shredding up a piece of paper, and at what point is that paper going to stop becoming paper, and what do we call it at that point? So that started the conversation around particles. In 3.2, our question was, does 5 plus 5 always equal 10? And we saw, or we were introduced to the idea that you have different sized particles, okay? And with different sized particles, you're going to have some empty spaces. So we looked at a demonstration where I used some golf balls and some marbles. Golf balls simulating those larger particles, and the marbles were able to fill that empty space in between those larger particles. So in 3.3, we're now asking ourselves whether or not the particle model is always going to be the best way to go. And there's an experiment, the reason I'm making this video, that involves a syringe. I've got a syringe. You can see there's a little valve here. If you listen, I hope you can hear that, but as I pull this plunger in and out, it allows air to go in there. I can also close that valve so it doesn't let any air in. And as I let go, it pops right back. Likewise, I could fill this thing up with air, close it, and I could try to compress it without breaking it. And at the start, it's really easy, but as I get closer and closer, it gets really hard. It gets a lot harder. And there are some simulations that are going to support what we saw there. But really, the reason I wanted to make this video is to show you the experiment that we would have been doing and sort of provide you with that data. So along with our syringe, I also have a thermometer. It doesn't matter that it's a thermometer. At this point, it's really just going to be a pin. What I'm going to do is I'm going to close this valve, so there should be no air, and you'll note I have just a little note card here to write down our data, but before it's going to be empty. So I've got my valve shut. I'm opening this up. And like I showed you just a second ago, when I let go, that plunger gets sucked right back in. So I'm going to use this pin. Again, this is closed, so we're not letting any air in. We can see that because the plunger gets stuck right back in. So what I'm going to do here is pull it out, and it is a little tricky. I almost got it. There we go. It's a little tricky. So now I have a syringe that's effectively empty. It doesn't have any air in it. And I want to weigh that here. I want to make sure that it's not, I'm sorry if you can't see that. We want to make sure that it's not touching. Make sure that's nice and zeroed. And right here, it's showing us that this is 51.48 grams. Now, if you listen closely, I opened up that valve and that air shot into my syringe. So now I want to weigh it again. Now it is reading 51.5. It's kind of going back and forth here. 0.55 grams. Okay, so it's a very small difference. However, I can see that after I filled the syringe with air, it became heavier. So that's telling me that the air that went inside has a certain amount of weight. It has some mass to it, which is going to help us prove that it is also made of particles. Okay, so there will be some other supplemental materials to go along with activity 3.3, but again, this was just to show you this data and provide you a visualization of this experiment. So I hope this goes over well, and I will talk to you guys soon.